With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go Network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lesbians about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Hang Out. And Ellie, I know I'm taking like some lyrical liberties with this one a little bit, but the podcast where I'm coming out, so you better get this party started.
Aren't those the words?
No, it's coming up, but I like it better that way.
Oh, okay.
Every gay person hears that in their head.
So yeah, that was just like a Freudian gay slip in my mind.
I think it's for all of us. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the song would be better.
Pink would be better
Anyways.
but you know.
If you need some notes, hit us up. Do you need edits on your song?
Should have been gay. That's all.
From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those of you who've been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week. This week in the Lesdom. This week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. Today is a very exciting day because we have a new Patreon bonus episode out for Blue is the Warmest Color. We had lots of thoughts, good, bad, ugly, and long. So if you want to listen to that episode, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon. It's a doozy.
We also want to remind you that we have our next trip coming up in May. So some of you saw what a blast we had in Croatia. We cannot wait to do it again. And again, if Croatia was like a little too busy, a little too active, a little too much like running around different cities in Croatia for you, don't worry. Costa Rica is probably more your vibe. It's going to be a little lower key, a little more retreat style, a little more hot springs, a little more spa day. We are so pumped to be in Costa Rica from May 1st to May 6th, 2024. If you are interested in joining, we still have 8 spots at the discount left. There are discounted prices for the first 10 people to sign up. So you can still snag those spots at bit.ly/lesdo Costa Rica.
In the greater Les universe, Our Flag Means Death Season 2 is out right now. I was obsessed with Season 1. I have not gotten to watch Season 2 yet, but I'm definitely going to. It's high on my list. If you all love Season 1, it's time. Season 2, I've heard it's gayer than ever, and it was quite gay.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Everything looks dramatic, and I'm here for it. Also, speaking of some shows, coming back around, I know. So listen, Ellie, I don't know if you have done better than I have. I have not yet watched the morning show, but you don't have to watch it to know that this week the internet exploded with the fact that Laura and Bradley finally got back together. So this is the couple of the characters played by Juliana Margulies and Reese Witherspoon, and I feel like the internet lost their minds over this kiss. And I think probably because I hear that they filmed the specific scene where they kiss in front of a green screen. So they like filmed some of the rest of the scene on set, like it on an actual like, street to get sort of, like they could get wide shots and they could do whatever. But then the kiss itself like clearly switches to being filmed in front of a green screen. So there were no spoilers. So this did not leak. People weren't sure if it was going to happen or not. But if you are like a big Laura and Bradley shipper, we're happy for you. We're sending you all our love. We love this. Love this for you.
Honestly, I love Reese Witherspoon so much. I feel like I probably should just do it.
You should
I should just dive into that shit. I love her. Also in the Greater Les universe, Real Housewives of New York went to Henrietta Hudson. I know that some of our good friends, Carolyn Bergier from Diking Out was there, which I'm so jealous of that. But also happy that, Henrietta Hudson is getting some recognition that it deserves.
Yeah,
we also
we love to
had
see it.
Lisa, their owner, on the show a while ago. So if anyone wants to take a look back to that episode, we had a really cool conversation with her. She's the shit. Lots of gay things colliding on that Real Housewives of New York episode. So that's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you our 5th episode of Season 7, The Gay Card.
And we are joined by a very special guest today, Matison Card. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We are very excited to have you here. For all of our listeners out there, Matison Card is a lesbian actor, stripper, singer, dancer, and contestant on Coming Out for Love, the first U.S. lesbian dating show. What a bio, multi-hyphenate.
I know, triple threat, quadruple threat, quintuple threat. How many did we
however
get?
many threats we can get.
The most threatening, right?
Yes. Yes, I definitely get that energy. We're very threatened right now.
Is she the villain on the show? We don't know. But
no. For sure no. Didn't you get voted fan favorite? Was that a thing?
I did get voted fan favorite. It was between Sunny and I for a while there, but I snuck in the back end. So
nice. Came out on top. Amazing. Well, why don't we talk a little bit? I mean, we want to talk about coming out for love, but why don't we just talk a little bit about you and what you do? Like we're saying, you are a multi-hyphenate. So like, how did you get into acting? It seems like you've been performing for a really long time.
yeah, I mean, I've pretty much been performing my whole life. I did ballet as a kid. I was in the musical theater zone for a long time, went to college for ballet, ended up modeling for a while in LA, kind of as a stepping stone to get into acting. And then I ended up staying on that stepping stone for like way too long. But now I'm much more focused on acting in movies when I can. And then obviously on this reality TV show that I did 2 years ago now, which is crazy.
That is that is wild. Tell us a little bit, like, because for anyone who's seen the show, they're seeing you 2 years ago. What has happened in your life since then?
Oh my God, so much has happened. Well, I got married for starters.
Very
congrats.
exciting.
Spoiler alert, major spoiler alert. Not to anybody on the show. But yeah, that's been like the main big change in my life. And then we are moving for a super top secret project here pretty soon. So right now we're just packing up our whole life in the States and leaving for a little while, which is really exciting and super romantic that I get to bring them with me. So life's been really great since the show. It's weird to see like the hair and the vibe from a while ago.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm like putting a pin in the so many questions that I'm going to have about like going back and watching a reality dating show from the perspective of marriage. But we'll get to that. Okay. To start with, can we talk a little bit about, because I mean, again, like the show was a while ago. Can you give us like a quick run through of like how did you end up on the show? Like how did that all sort of come to be, you know?
Come to fruition? Well, I guess like really what happened is like I was in LA, pandemic hit, ended up booking a movie in Denver, stayed for a little while, met this girl that like stole my heart that I didn't think I would get to be with, ended up applying for like a reality show and then coming back and getting the girl that was like there the whole time.
Oh, I kind of
What
love
a
that.
beautiful gay love story. We love that. So you were like, oh, this is my person, but it's not meant to be. Might as well go date all these. Well, you're only technically supposed to date one person, but date all these people on the show.
But we all know what happens.
The first time I applied for the show, I hadn't met them yet. So like I got turned down in the first round of like auditions or whatever. And then 2 days before we started filming in Palm Springs, somebody dropped out and they called me and I had already met them, but I still went because we weren't official yet. And I was an idiot. And then is when I got home, I was like, please be my girlfriend. Like, please, please, please. And now we're married. And yeah.
That's
Amazing.
incredible. Life, man. Life is wild.
Oh, yeah. If I didn't make such like incredible friendships on the show, I would probably regret going super hard.
Because of your wife, you would regret it, or you'd regret it for other reasons?
Both. I mean, I should have asked them out like the second I met them, but I was like all nervous and they were all nervous. We were like little middle schoolers who were like, oh my God, our pinkies touched. Like, oh, my heart.
That's how we roll, man. That's how the gays roll, okay?
We did not handle that with the most grace, but then I was like, fuck it, we're doing this right now, please. And then we UHauled super hard.
Do you feel like the show pushed you to do that? Or you like...
Yeah, I learned exactly what I don't want in a partner, which is a valuable lesson. Not the one I was expecting to learn on a reality TV show, but here we go.
I mean, have you watched a reality dating show, though? Like...
I do feel like that is the lesson most people find, yeah.
I had a hope that the queer version would be a little different, you know?
Okay, that's actually that's a good question. Did you feel like there were some parts of it that were different? Or no? None of them?
No, no. It's the exact version of reality TV you would expect when you get pushed to your limits and then you're crying and people think you're crying over the situation and you're really crying because you're like hungry and tired and have been fed liquor in 117-degree heat in Palm Springs for like 3 days straight. Like, that's the part that people don't see, right?
Rough.
Oh, yeah, just being on camera the whole time is crazy, too, because you don't get a break. You get to, like, take a nap and be away. You know, you're on camera the whole time.
Yeah. Was that the first time you've done, like, a reality show?
Yeah, so I had been acting for, like, 10 years prior to that, but no reality TV. Like, I've hosted some shows for Fail Army, and I've done movies and music videos and short films and commercials, all that kind of jazz, but never reality TV where the cameras are on you the whole time, like no privacy to get ready or like do your like pre-ritual, whatever it is, you know? So I would probably not recommend doing reality TV to anybody.
I mean, I'll be honest, like it's such a funny thing because I'm not like a huge reality person. You know, like I don't watch a ton of reality TV. I feel like my wife and I always say it's like every 6 months or something you kind of get sucked into a show, you know, and then you binge that and then we're like, okay, that I'm good for a bit. Like I don't need more of like a reality show for a little while, you know? But I also feel like that's because when I watch them, I'm like, this looks like my nightmare. But at the same time, I'm like, I want them out there, but also I hate everything. I hate everything that's happening right now. This looks like the worst situation I could personally imagine being in. So I'm always a little torn about that, you know?
So addicting. It's trash TV, and yet we all watch it, you know, it's very binge-worthy.
Well, and it's so funny, especially now where it's like, you know, I mean, we all saw, like, I think they just announced they're casting for another season of, like, Queer Ultimatum, you know? And we're like, oh, God, like, how did any of us, like, come on, gays, we all watched that first season, like, who is going on being like, you know what I'd like to do is torpedo my relationship? And we're like, but I know there are people who are gonna do it, and I know I'm gonna watch it and like binge the shit out of that show. So like, am I any better?
No, you're not.
Thanks, Ellie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if I would ever want to go on that type of a reality show either. Like The Ultimatum is like super fucked up. It's so toxic.
It's
Oh God,
it's so.
it's
I mean,
bad.
we've talked about it.
Like ruining your personal relationships for clout. Like, are you really like that desperate to be famous that that's how you're going to do it? Like, I'm sorry, I really don't respect that show. I'm like, it's so mean. It's so mean.
It is horrible. I mean, we've like
Therapy builds alone after the fact. Like, it's not financially smart. That's like girl math. Like, don't go on Ultimate.
Girl math is finding an in-network therapist after being on Queer Ultimatum. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's funny to me though, because when I saw that the Straight Ultimatum existed as a show before Queer Ultimatum came out, I was like, this is the most fucked up shit. I would never watch it. And then the queer version came out and I was like, but I have to see it. But I still think the concept is so fucked up. But because it was queer, I was like, I need to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
They really hooked us.
It's a business at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So rough. So rough. It does make me sad to know that like it didn't feel any like different, because I feel like parts of watching Coming Out for Love, one of the things that I really was noticing is like there was so much processing and like so much processing, and part of it was like, okay, it seems like the producers are like sort of trying to care about you, but like
I do think that the show is really pushing diversity in different stories, which I think is wonderful. I do also think that, like we said, it's a reality TV show. So like maybe there could have been like a little more stupid drama and less like very serious topics drama. Like I do think that that's important to talk about within the queer community, but I also think it needs to be like entertaining and fun. So it was interesting because none of us assumed it was going to go there. And then we were all of a sudden there and I was like, oh fuck, this is like super real. Like I can't be like a stupid TV personality because I'm an actor at heart, like I understood the assignment of why we were there to entertain. And then it got really serious with talks of like racism and homophobia and ableism and things like that. And I was just like, ooh, that's where the queer version is a little different, which is great. But did they teeter the right line? I don't know. You know what I mean? I think there are different opinions about that.
It's so funny too, because I feel like, especially in queer spaces, that it's an impossible line, right? Like it's an impossible line to walk, because I feel like we all so we all watched Queer Ultimatum, right? We've all watched a bunch of other reality shows, and like you watch a show like Queer Ultimatum, which like you were saying, Ellie, like you watched the straight version, you knew what you were signing up for going in, but then you watch the queer version and you're like, wow, I can't believe you dropped so many balls. Like I can't believe you didn't tackle the domestic violence issues that were going on your show. I can't believe you didn't like bring up some of the more obvious like gender presentations and expression things that were like going on, and didn't even put like pronoun cards up. Like just really simple stuff that you're like, wow, like how are you doing this as a show for queer people and you think that's going to be okay? But then on the flip side, it's like, okay, so you actually tried to like tackle the real issues and get in on like the heavy stuff, and then we're like, but did you need to, or like couldn't you just have had stupid dumb shit for for every episode? It's like it feels like there's no like, what is the right balance, like how do you handle all of that and while making just a fluffy reality TV show? And I don't know the answer.
I think the difference is doing research on your contestants before you cast them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was gigantic. That was a gigantic misstep.
A huge misstep. And like genuinely, from my perspective and my understanding, they did not know that Amber and Lundy had this whole situation. They didn't even know who Lundy was. And I'm like, how did you not know she was one of the like top lesbians on TikTok? Which granted, I had no fucking idea who she was, because she's like 23 and I'm not interested in dating someone with a frontal lobe. Like gross. Like I didn't even know at the time. We'll get into that. But for the production team to not know who they were casting, like major misstep.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a quick Google. It's a little tippy tap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand how that got missed.
That's not like something that's buried in the ether. That's like a literal look up
First
the name.
thing I did when I got my phone back was Google that shit, and I was like, how did this happen?
It was very, very easy to fact check. Yes.
It was. So we just need to like fact check, that's it.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
Well, and I feel like the thing that was hard about it, I think, is it took over so much of the early episodes of the show, and it's like, again, I mean, I see the sides of like wanting to do justice to the tough conversations that were happening, but I think as viewers it certainly is like not the standard, this was not MTV reality fare that we're all used to, that we've all grown up with for decades. It was a different kind of vibe.
Yeah, it was like 60 minutes and we need like MTV. Yeah, it was, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on that. I just wish some of the other girls would have done some crazier shit so we could have gotten, like a little more traditional reality TV. Like, it's fun. Like, it's.
Where were more people hooking up in secret? Yeah, give us that.
Well, also a queer show, why is there one lead love we're all fighting for? Like, we're all women and non-binary folks. Like, we're not going to fight each other. Like, you need a fucking situation where we don't know there's a lead love and you let us all canoodle and then you bring them in later. Can you imagine the drama?
That would have been
that's like the queer version of what's it called? Too Hot to Handle, right? Where you're like, you guys can sleep with each other, and you're like, no, you can't.
I think we could do one where you're already sleeping together, but then there's one person that you're supposed to fight for, but you're already paired up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's also
we're too respectful. Like, it doesn't work like The Bachelor because none of those women are at least openly attracted to each other, right? They're all fighting for a dude. It's so much different.
The openly quotes,
I love the openly
doing a lot of
quotations.
lifting.
Yeah.
If I was single and crazy, I would go on The Bachelor just for the other contestants. That's like being in a room full of 30 women. Like, there you go.
Yes.
I wouldn't even have to fight for the lead. You know what I mean? But that's just like a lesbian brain of being like in a house with that many women.
Well, being in a house with that many women, you didn't feel like it was the same vibe because like people were being too respectful?
How do I say this? Because I really love all the women and they're so fun. I don't really find myself sexually attracted to that many people in the house. Like, maybe that's just me, but I know the other girls felt that way too. Like, they're all wonderful, incredible people, but none of us are really attracted to each other. Like, maybe a couple, but I think they could have casted a little bit better. Just having some of us look so similar, like when they were doing the trio thing with Lotus, and Sunny and Amber, I'm like, did you think that that's like how queer people date? Because in my perspective, it hasn't been that I've seen. But yeah, I don't know, man. None of them were really 100% my type, I guess.
Not enough. You think not enough different types in the, like, everyone felt like similar types.
Not compatible types,
yeah,
is what I think. And the age range was weird too. We had like 22 to like 45. I'm like, could we do either 25 and below, people without frontal lobes, or 25 and above and people with frontal lobes? Because it just felt weird to me. And maybe that's just me.
I love that differentiation.
I was so confused when I found out how old everybody was. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting to me, like, I've thought this, again, I am not somebody who has watched a ton, like, when I watch reality shows, I've not historically been huge into, like, dating shows. And I feel like a big part of it is, like, I don't want to watch straight people date. Like,
well, that's in general, even in real life. Yeah, I can't do it.
It's not riveting TV for me, but also because I think part of the problem, and like maybe this is why I know that there are lesbians who are like super into The Bachelor, and like good for them, happy for them to have that. But when I watch a show like The Bachelor, I always have a hard time, like, getting past the thing of just being like, really, like, all of you are fighting over this one forgettable man. Like, I don't
see it. That looks the same every single season.
Every season, like, the white bread man. And I'm just like, but also because it's always fascinating to me that you get all of these different women. And I'm like, are you all actually into this dude? Like, this
no
guy?
Yeah, there's
no way. There's no way. But I feel like there's a weird, like, heterosexual phenomenon that allows them to buy into that fantasy, right? Like, there's a weird thing where it's just like the same way that people have a hard time understanding sometimes. Like, I think bisexual people run into this a lot, right? Where they're just like, so I don't get it, you're just attracted to everyone all the time. And I'm like, I'm not sure you understand how attraction works if that's what you think. Like,
yeah. Right? And so, but I feel like that's because
like you
that's
just want to
the
fuck
way
everything and everyone.
Right, yeah. Everything around me, I just want to have sex with it all the time. But I feel like it's because that's this like weird straight thing that they're like, oh, sure, you have put a man in front of any women and therefore they will all want him. And I'm like, that's not how dating works. Like, and I think that's what you just explained, I feel like, is why it's harder for queer viewers to watch a show where you're like, yeah, there just wasn't always sparks. And we're like, right, because people are different and we all have different attractions and different types and like different, and it's not like you can manufacture attraction in the way that I think straight people are willing to sort of just
pretend, because they're used to pretending all the time.
Right, because they're like, you have a penis and they have vaginas and therefore it's meant to be. And you're like, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. Really, when you get down to it. But I don't know, like, is that just me? I just feel like when you watch straight dating shows, like, it doesn't ever really feel like it gets brought up. Like,
yeah, no, the math is not mathing with that at all. Like, I don't understand it. It's like, it clearly made by a man who has an ego, right? Who's like, any hole is my hole to do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so he's like, I picked this man, so all of these women will want him because I decide.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because they are available to be penetrated, and that's all it takes. But I feel like when you watching some of the episodes of Coming Out for Love, I feel like there was a little bit more discussion and awareness of, like, even so, like, when you were eliminated from the show, right? Like, having a discussion of saying, like, hey, we're like in a great platonic space, but that deeper connection isn't there. And like, that's a concept that comes up a couple times throughout the show of being like, hey, we're like hitting it off and vibing and like having a great time together, but not in a deep romantic, like, vibing in that way sense.
It was a problem for a reality TV show.
Yes.
Like, none of us were compatible.
But I also feel like it's realistic, right? Like, that's a realistic thing that you never see in straight dating shows. Like, I feel like when The Bachelor doesn't give a rose to a woman, it's always like, I can't believe he didn't pick me. And there's never a moment of being like, yeah, actually, like, he and I were not hitting
him too.
I was not into this dude. Like, you know,
I got eliminated. I was like, I genuinely want to go home. This is not fun anymore. Like, it was supposed to be fun. We were being so serious. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. But I feel like that I did like the part of it where it felt like there was a little bit more acknowledgement of the fact that, like, dating is not just putting people with similar attractions in a room together. It's like, you can't just put a bunch of lesbians in a room and everybody...
They all want to date each other.
Right,
yeah.
Wants to fuck everyone else there, which is like, yeah, actually, like, many of us are in rooms with queer people all the time, and we don't all immediately bang.
Preferably all the time and only queer spaces. Like, if I could just be around queer people, that would be phenomenal.
God. Listen, we just did a trip to Croatia with like a small caravan of gays, like, trooping around the country, and it was just, it's like, every time you're just in like an all queer space, it's so wonderful.
And also nobody hooked up with each other.
Yeah.
Which was
oh my God, there you go.
Both sad and not surprising.
That's like when people find out you're a lesbian and they're like, oh my God, I have this one lesbian friend that you should date. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck she looks like, dude. Like,
right.
How do you even, or like if she chews weird, or I don't know, we don't have the same size shoe. Like my wife and I, which is like the best lesbian privilege that's ever existed on planet Earth. Like,
wait, I have that. Do you have that, Lee?
Ellie, you've met me and Kelsey. Do we have the same size shoes?
You could.
I am a tiny, like, pocket-sized human.
Your partner's name is Kelsey?
Yes.
My partner's name is Kelsey.
Aw, yay!
So is my therapist. It gets weird sometimes.
Yeah, my wife and I always joke that it's like we lose all the lesbian benefits because the only thing we can share is socks. Like, none of our clothes, like, we have very different, like, style vibes, but also, like, I'm child size and she's like a normal person size, like human, like an adult sized woman, and I am not.
I'm like 6 inches taller than Jana, and we still have the same shoe size.
You have very small feet for your height.
Feet.
You have weird small feet. You do.
I have very small feet for my body, which is why I think I'm clumsy.
I was just about to ask how your, like, stability is.
It's not good. It's not good.
Good, but that's another podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't expect to get into this today,
Oh
but
my God, I love it.
it's really not good. That's
The
why.
hand-eye coordination also sometimes lacking. It probably is a combination of things, Ellie.
Yeah. These limbs are too
I
large
just
for my-
watched the you playing golf Insta stories. We all know.
Oh yeah. The hand-eye coordination is not there. But I probably borrowed Jana's golf shoes for that. But let's.
That's fantastic. See, lesbian benefits. It's a thing.
It is. It is a real
there's
thing.
There's a few.
I don't know how to get back to where we even were, but
We're talking about dating. This is all about dating.
yes,
right?
and yet here we are. Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk about, because this is such, like, the fact that this played out as a trope on the show, like, cracked me the fuck up. Best friends? Really?
The best friends to lovers pipeline is the trope you're talking about.
Yes.
Bruh.
Yes.
Can we talk about the fact that she didn't choose anybody? She chose herself, but then now they've been dating on and off since the show. I'm like, what was that? Was that just like a middle finger to production for some reason that is unknown? Or like, you have a contractual obligation to pick somebody. Just pick somebody. We all knew she was going to win. We were like, oh, you already know each other. Cool beans. None of us like each other. Like, we're going to have fun. Like, we didn't all know that from the exact moment Amber came out.
Also, just like how, first of all, just everything, I don't know, everything about the fact that they were like, we had no clue who these contestants were, but like also there's no way you could have missed that.
There's no way. It's like they didn't do research at all sometimes. But I mean, I hope Sterling and Amber are doing well, because like they probably would be really great for each other. They've known each other for a long time. It wasn't like a U-Haul situation, something that's more stable, and like they have similar friend groups and things like that, stuff that you can't just grow on a reality show in a couple days. They already had that built in. So I mean, I don't know the tea on if they're together or not, to be quite honest with you. I have absolutely no idea. I know they've been on and off since, but that's like from hearing what people are saying. Like,
yeah.
I'm curious, just because this brought up this question in my head, and now I'm curious. How did you and your wife meet?
We met at a local gay bar through mutual friends that had been trying to set us up for like months, but we kept missing each other. Like every time, like I would have to work and they would be out, or like there was this one night that I dropped my friends off at the same bar they were at and then went to work. And then we finally met, like, because they saw me singing Spice Girls for karaoke, like pretty blacked out at said gay bar. And it was on my friend's Snap story. And they were like, who's that girl? Which is ridiculous, because I was acting a fool like I do when I do karaoke. And then when we finally met, it was like we literally talked every single day, all day. But both of us were like coming out of old relationships-ish. Like they had already closed, but that weird time. And then I went on the show, and then I came home and was like, please be my girlfriend now and forever. If you'd like to be my wife instead, that would be fantastic.
So cute.
I love it. Because
2 months later.
2 months.
That's incredible. Incredible. The gayest thing we've ever heard, honestly, right there.
Yeah. And then we got married like a year ago in June. So we moved really fast.
Congrats. What day in June?
It happens.
The 28th.
Okay. Mine's the 20th. I wanted to be like, oh my God, do we have the same anniversary and we're both married to a Kelsey? It would be too funny. We're so close. So close.
Is your Kelsey a Libra also?
She is not. She is a Scorpio, which people have a lot of feelings about.
I love Scorpios. I've only ever dated Libras and Scorpios, literally ever, except for one rogue Leo, and she was not
right.
mine.
I'm curious because, listen, I'm so not an astrology gay, but I feel like there was a lot of it on the show. And I'm curious because, Ellie and I mentioned we just went on a trip with a bunch of gays. Like, obviously, there was a lot. There were, like, some heated astrology discussions.
And one of those heated astrology discussions was between me and another person. So that was
amazing. Wait, what's your sign?
Ellie and I are both Pisces.
Yeah, we're both Pisces.
Okay, word.
Guess what sign I was fighting with?
Was it a Virgo?
No.
It wasn't? Mm-hmm. It's always a Virgo, and Amber's a Virgo. I'm better on Virgo. Fucking hate them.
No, it was a fire sign.
Oh, a fire sign. Oh no, I hope it wasn't an Aries, because that's me.
Not an
It was probably a Sag.
Sag. It was a Sag. You
So,
knew.
okay,
Well,
so-
eventually you knew.
Wait,
It was a
wait,
Sag.
We got there, right?
We got you.
I'm just curious, like as someone who is not an astrology gay, but I'm not unaware of the astrology gay ubiquitousness in the community. I'm just curious, like, was there more even than we saw on the show of like the astrological discussions
signs.
and clashing and breakdowns, and like how much of that was going on?
A lot. And honestly, like, I probably can't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's a lot more of that on the reunion too, which is yet to come out yet. Like, we super dive into astrology about it.
Incredible.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby!
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast, Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's only one story. The Only One in the Room has a wide variety of guests, from prisoners to abuse survivors to swingers. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee that Only One in the Room will have a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
You come to the New Yorker Radio Hour for conversations that go deeper, with people you really want to hear from, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Questlove or Olivia Rodrigo, Liz Cheney, or the godfather of artificial intelligence, Jeffrey Hinton, or some of my extraordinarily well-informed colleagues at the New Yorker. So join us every week on the New Yorker Radio Hour, wherever you listen to podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
We all really did share that in common, which kind of just goes to show they casted gays that would be really good friends, which is wonderful for us long term. But as far as like a show, expected more of the ladies to be banging each other.
Like, were they not running charts before the casting? Like, wild.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
I think our astrology signs, like our big three, should be included with like our model stats. You know, it'll be like hair color, weight, fucking astrology sign.
It's so funny because it's like, okay, so here's what I'll say. Like, I don't like coffee. Like, I don't drink coffee. I just don't like the taste of it. I love the smell of coffee. I know. I'm a bad gay in so many ways. But I like the smell of coffee, right? And so I'm like, I can be around people who love coffee, and I'm like, this is a pleasant experience for me. That's like how I feel about astrology gays. I'm like, I'm not into it. I don't go here. This is not my thing. But like, I just find all of it so like
so comical.
It's so fun and comical and like amusing and engaging, and like because
it does. And I'm like, it's so fun because I don't have any strong opinions one way or the other about any of it. And so I'm just like,
it's like fantasy football for
yes.
women, you know?
Yes. That's what it is, and it's great.
You're drafting your team. You're like, can we be friends? Because give me your co-star so I can know if I can spend more time with you, or if like we should just
Ellie made
now.
me download co-star like just to run our compatibility.
And guess what we found out, Lee?
We are perfectly compatible in every way except sexual. So it works perfectly for us. We are platonically
So was it right
made
or was
to be.
it right?
It was right.
We do get
And then
along
if it was wrong, I'd be like,
exceedingly well, Ellie.
I can explain this in this way. Yeah.
You mean all lesbians don't like bang each other all the time?
I know. No, and it's so funny though, because it's like people do like, I mean, Ellie and I have been friends for like a long time right now, and it's like people will see like, I remember we had posted a photo of, we did a show in New York together of like a musical podcast that we produced a couple years ago, and we sing a duet in it together. We sing like a best friends duet, and there's this photo where it's like we're both looking at each other with these like little eyes, whatever. And I just remember Kelsey telling me, she's like, oh my God, she's like, funniest story is like someone, like one of her friends had like seen the photo that I posted, and I posted it with a whole post being like, oh my God, Ellie, like what an amazing friend, person, like actress, singer, like just like what an amazing human, love her so much, like can't over express like how life-changing it has been to have Ellie in my life. And they were like, wow, like anything you should be worried about, like to my wife, and she was like, no. She's like, what a hilarious question to even ask. Like, why? Just because they're like gay and friends? Like, I don't.
Weird.
That can't exist.
It's impossible.
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 It's like such a straight way of viewing being gay.
It is sometimes.
Like you're attracted to people. It's literally the same thing. It's just like different gender. Like it's not that complicated.
But also, it's like when Harry met Sally. Like they can't be friends with each other.
God, impossible. You can't do it. Like it gives me a chuckle.
Which I know, sorry, we're veering in like all sorts of weird directions. But do you ever feel like sometimes, like maybe this is just an experience I have a lot, because I do actually, especially now, like we have kids, like we have a social group that comprises like a lot of straight couples these days. And I know.
Can't relate.
And I'll tell you what, it's fascinating. It's
fascinating.
It is. Oh man, what good people watching that would be.
It really is. But like one thing that I notice sometimes is like sometimes I feel like straight guys like really enjoy getting to hang out with us as women, where it doesn't feel like there's anything at stake for them, or like any of that weirdness, because it's like sometimes I do feel like we deprive men and women of the ability to just sort of like be really good platonic friends and like hang out.
And that would be so good for men specifically who don't have those like deep connective relationships that women and non-binary folks tend to have more of. Like that would be like a healing thing in the heterosexual community that they could like maybe focus on,
Because sometimes I feel like I have noticed over a lot of like our life, like when you hang out with straight guys, that like sometimes I feel like they really love having like a woman that they can be like, I can talk to you about emotions. And like that's not always a thing that they get to do with like their guy friends, And they're like, and it's not weird if I do it with you, because no one's gonna think that there's like anything weird going on, And you're just like, oh, men, are you okay?
Yeah, I feel like there's like two categories of men when it comes to lesbians. Either it's the ones who want to bro up with you and like talk about their feelings and like both loving to bang women and not each other, right? And then there's the ones who are like, but you haven't had me though, baby. Like, let's see if you're gay after you get this guy. And I'm like, I'm not a challenge, bro.
No.
Like,
no. And like,
I'm
to be fair, like
when I do meet the guys who want that connection, like,
yeah, we don't have any friends that are in the second group, which I mean, Jesus. Woof. But like, no, I mean, to be fair though, in the space of just like I've told Kelsey this before, that like it's something that I think is so fascinating to me. Even there's lots of guys that I love, and like straight men that we are friends with that I'm like, you're great people, like, but sometimes it's like I'll go to a birthday party and I think this like ties back to the conversation we were having before about like straight dating
like,
shows.
where
Sometimes I'm tying it back for us, Ellie. Just give me a minute. I have a plan. I'm on a track, okay? So sometimes there's an experience that I have when I'm in very straight spaces where it's like you'll just be at like a kid's birthday party, and you'll like look at like or at the park, whatever, and you just look at like a straight relationship. And you look at like the woman in that relationship, and then you look at like the man in that relationship, and I'm just like, really, that man
is what you chose.
That's what does it for you? Like,
it's fascinating, and like some of that I know is just like,
tell you you're beautiful because I will.
I'm deeply gay, and like sometimes I just don't understand the attraction to men in a general sense.
I just feel like that's such a lesbian thing too. I think that's just such a lesbian thing where you're just like, that man is not even half as attractive as me.
But I think that's why I can't watch straight dating shows sometimes, because I'm just like, really, like 30 women, you're all fighting over that dude, like that guy?
Let me come challenge. I'll get 25 of the 30. Like, boom, nailed it.
I don't even look at it that way.
Actually,
I don't think I would.
I would pay to see that reality show.
That would be hilarious, actually.
This guy thinks that he can have all these women, but then a super hot lesbian comes in, and
oh my God.
Then the women have to decide between the two. Actually, was that sort of how Tila Tequila was run? No, it was opposite.
No, Tila Tequila was a fucking train wreck, left to right. Like, let's just...
Okay, Tila Tequila had men and women contestants.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, and that's more of what I was expecting.
Was the hot train wreck of let's all group make out in a hot tub. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
That's to like get us to connect sexually versus like emotionally too, because I think we kind of covered that. You know what I mean? Like, you can have certain competitions that are a little bit more geared to like that energy.
Yeah. You didn't think that the lap dance was enough? Or it was too like...
Oh, I was really, really mad at production that day about the whole thing when Lundy got eliminated. And so I was just sitting on the side, like smoking a blunt with Shaba, like all angry. And I, the stripper, refused to participate in the lap dance competition because I was like, I would embarrass the fuck out of you guys. I was like, this is not. I was like, everyone I work with is phenomenal at shaking ass. Okay. Like, I am very, very blessed as a stripper. Like, the women I'm around 24/7, cream of the crop. And so I was just like, I'm not participating in this trash. I'm going to sit here and be mad and smoke weed.
Amazing. Question about your stripping. Are the people you work with majority queer, not queer? Like, are you in queer spaces when you're stripping, or it's like very...
We have a pretty big mix. Like, the dancers I've come in contact with, because I've worked in a couple different places. Like, I've met non-binary dancers, queer dancers, bi, lesbian, straight, the whole spectrum. The club I work in isn't really designated as like a straight space or a queer space. I will say most of the time it's pretty heterosexual, which is a bummer, but I've performed in queer spaces too. And like, it is kind of comical for me because as a lesbian dancer, like, my wires never get crossed at work. When I'm performing on stage, like, it's such a job for me that I can compartmentalize because I have zero attraction to anybody there. So it's like a lot easier. Like, some girls would be like, ooh, they're cute. And I'm like, are they? Like, genuine question, are they? Because I can't tell. Like, I have no idea.
It's just a blur, just like a blank space.
Yeah, I'm like, that's irrelevant. It's really dark in here. I'm on like an elevated stage. Like, I'm just like focusing on like engaging my right pinky toe so I don't fall off. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Makes sense. Yeah, because we had we like literally just had Ivy. What's her last name? I don't know, but she runs Les Vixens, which is like a lesbian queer burlesque. But it was sort of cool talking to her about just like being in the burlesque space, but like only queer, like not really having to deal with men.
I do both, but I mean, if I stayed in it, it would be nice to do only queer, but that's like a really difficult financial decision to make because it's obvious it'll cut your profits, which sucks. But being in all queer spaces, business, pleasure, platonic, all of it is the goal for me.
Yes. Agreed. But yeah, it's the easiest space to be in. No matter, like, I mean, easy, and then also it comes with its own challenges. Yeah. It comes with its own challenges, but still would prefer. Unless you're like Lee and you're just observing the heterosexuals in their natural habitat.
In the wild. I'm going to film a documentary.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a documentary type of perspective because you're like, wow, I would never even think that would occur. Cool. Noted for later, I guess.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride, you know? What do you think is the best thing that you walked away from the experience? Like the being on Coming Out for Love. Like, what do you think is the best thing you took from that?
Definitely some of the friendships, keeping in touch with some of the girls. Not everybody, obviously. There's like, 16 of us. So that's not very realistic. But the friendships that I have cultivated from the show are really wonderful. And like, whether that be like trauma bonding or genuinely connecting on, similar interests, like we've kept in touch, and it's been a really lovely, like safe, supportive space. So I will say I'm really grateful for that. And just like realizing what you already have and just having the balls to take it,
Yeah. Love it. All right. One more silly question before we go into our Q&A, because you talked about this earlier, and I saw a video of you from the reunion singing karaoke. What's your go-to karaoke song? What's your go-to? Like, what's the song?
The song is Redneck Woman, Gretchen Wilson. Absolutely. Like,
Nice.
Especially we were in Texas and we were at Sue Ellen's, which was really cool. And like getting to meet all the fans and kind of talk about the show, do meet and greet, all that jazz. But then afterwards, we didn't really realize there was going to be karaoke downstairs. And I am a hoe for some karaoke, especially in a queer space. And like, I met this one like fabulous gay man who had the most ridiculous nails, and we were just like, I like basically feel like a drag queen anyway, just because of what I do and like how I present and stuff. And so we were just going off, and then I was like singing with him, and just we really decided to celebrate all the hard work, because I feel like a lot of times we don't take time to celebrate, and even though it wasn't exactly what everybody anticipated it to be, it was still something to be celebrated for like the community, and like seeing the queer joy it brought to some of the people in Texas who like, it's Texas, they need queer spaces,
Yes.
So that was really cool. And I let loose a lot at karaoke.
Love it. Well, yeah, I'm also a hoe for karaoke, which is why I was like, that's why I will ask.
Yeah, and that's like essentially why I met my wife too. So there you go. You don't need reality TV. Just go do like queer karaoke, and you'll find
a wife.
There you go.
They're actually in Boston. There's a space called Queerioke. Every Thursday they have gay karaoke. And I'm
booking my flight.
Yeah, when I first moved back here, I went like every single week. Now I'm like, I'm tired and old, and I'm
Well,
just like,
you
I
gig a
don't.
lot right now.
Yeah, I'm like performing every weekend, so like it's on Thursday nights. So it's like to go sing at karaoke on Thursday and then sing on Friday, Saturday.
A lot.
But it's so fun to be in a space that's just all queer people. And like the song selection's always better.
Oh, 100%. Oh my God. Everyone was singing like songs that literally everybody knew, because of course it's just like our queer, like
they just know the assignment, right? It's just so much better with them when you go to straight karaoke and then someone's like singing this random deep cut that you're like, we didn't need this. Like give me Whitney, give me Gaga, give me What's Up, give me Cher. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Spice Girls, great choice.
Classic. You have to.
All right, we're ready. Let's go to our Q&A.
Q and gay.
All right, question number 1. Have you ever fallen in love with your best friend? A, yes. B, no. C, not yet.
Yes.
Very
the
weird.
The current relationship or in the past?
Both.
Incredible.
I feel like the insinuation of falling in love with your best friend is like you were best friends before you fell in love, not like I fell in love with someone and now they're my best friend, right?
Yeah, no, done both.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Okay. Question 2, Madison. What's your love language out of A, physical touch, B, words of affirmation, C, quality time, or D, acts of service?
I want to say all of them, but probably physical touch. I want it all. I give it all too. But like, I feel like giving, it's like cooking. I love cooking for someone. That wasn't the question, but there's a fun little tidbit.
If you wanted to know. All right. Question number 3. What is the gayest thing you've ever done? A, fallen for a friend. B, long distance relationship. C, gone on a lesbian reality show. Or D, UHaul.
So the fact that I've done every single one of them.
But which one of them is the gayest?
Which one of them feels like the
pretty validating as a lesbian? I'm like, dope.
Yeah, you get a lot of punches on the card tonight, okay?
Yeah,
on
the gay card is strong.
But we crushed that. Okay.
Full circle. Oh, I feel like the reality show would have been the gayest, but it wasn't in reality the gayest thing I've ever done. We're gonna go with you, Holling.
Good answer. Good answer. Question 4. What is your ideal astrological match? And we just broke it down to A, water, B, fire, C, earth, or D, air.
Shit. We can't just, I want to say it's Libra Scorpio cusps, but
You can do a write-in as the
you
guest.
can
That's
write in,
okay.
yeah.
my write-in is Libra.
Okay.
We're perfectly balanced on like the astrological chart throughout the year, and we're both cardinal signs and super sexually compatible because they're Scorpio cusp, so it works out great.
Amazing.
A Libra in the streets and a Scorpio in the sheets is like the ideal.
That's the answer. We'll have to write that on our Twitter, Lee.
Yeah.
Specifically. All right. Final question. Would you ever go on a reality dating show? A, yes, B, no, or C, never again?
I'm married. If I wasn't married, it was a different
Yes, but all of
type
our
of
listeners
show.
might not be. It's okay.
You would go on a different kind of reality show, though, if it was not a dating show.
Yes,
Okay.
not this one.
Yes, yeah. If it was not, what's like the dream show for you to go on, not dating show?
Not dating show. Well, this is going to sound silly because it's not even on TV. I really want to be on Hot Ones. I want to eat those wings. That's like a big, like, I will know I've made it for my own validation when I get to do Hot Ones.
Do you think you could do it? You could do the whole lineup?
It probably wouldn't be pretty towards the end, but I love spicy food. I just got done making like a ridiculous amount of green chili. But then I wonder if I'm one of those people that's like overly confident and thinks they're going to be fine, and then they're not.
You can buy the sauces. You can practice at home.
Yeah, you can test it out.
Oh, but I feel like that's cheating. You know what I mean? Like, I've already cried on
You gotta-
TV. Why not do it again?
You got to have the experience live. That's fair.
I always love when
That's-
you
I
see
respect
someone
that.
who like literally feels nothing and you're like, that's
Dude,
insane.
Lord on that was wild. I think the most reaction Lord said on that whole show was just like, good wing, tasty wing. And you're like, what is happening? Like, this man is crying across from her, and she's like, that's really good. Can I eat the whole thing? Delicious. And you're like,
Gordon Ramsay was like railing Pepto-Bismol and like crying.
yeah.
I want to know where I stand because I love spicy food. But like, honestly, if I was going to do TV again, like I would love to do something that's not reality and a show that has a long run of seasons, because then I'm just employed for a long time and I don't have to think about it.
That's the dream.
Get me like a spooky something crime.
Sorry, did you say a long run of seasons in the streaming world that we live in these days? Never heard of it.
Right? Never heard of her. Haven't met her yet.
Unfamiliar with the concept.
Like a murder podcast is like my thing to like go to bed to. So I'm that type of a lesbian. So I'd love to do like a crime drama.
Nice.
Rizzoli and Isles, but make it gay.
But make it gay.
Yeah, I feel so seen right now.
I could see you in something witchy as well. I feel like you have a good witch vibe.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm rewatching Lucifer right now, and like the love affair between Eve and Mazikeen is just like so fulfilling. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. That would be good too. Yeah. You've got options.
We have time.
I would like to be on a sitcom myself personally. I've been watching a lot of Will and Grace lately. Like, I love a silly comedy. That's my vibe. Yeah. All right. I feel like this was very emphasis on the hangout, and I actually am sort of obsessed with that.
I mean, it's like a realistic, like queer sensation right there. It's just hanging out and talking about stupid shit for forever.
Exactly. But
It's
yeah,
like my favorite thing to do, though.
it was wonderful. So thank you so much. This was awesome talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Let our listeners know, where can they find you, Madison, if they want to follow you on socials or whatever. Where can they look you up?
Yeah, so all my social media across the board is Matison Card, Madison with a T, because my parents named me a really basic white girl name and then spelled it funny. So at Matison Card, literally everywhere. Instagram is probably the most fun, but we dabble in other platforms too. So
Nice.
Incredible.
And you can't tell us about your secret new projects. Are there any projects that you can tell us about?
I can't tell you, but I can tell you that it's a movie and that it's not in the US. And so I will be gone for a little while, which is really exciting. It's my first film where I get to travel overseas. So big things coming, but I'm in that weird NDA zone where I'm like, find out, catch me making stupid Instagram stories complaining about men.
You'll just have to follow Madison to know what it's about.
To know the big secret. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you want to watch Madison on Coming Out for Love, I think you can just go to comingoutforlove.com to find the whole season of that.
Some extra bonuses of like other episodes of them filming us after dark with Shaba, which if you want even more tea, I would highly recommend those.
Madison, thank you so much. We had a blast hanging out.
I had a blast too.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you, and we love continuing to build this community. So we just like to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. And we want to start with a shout out to Where Is Your Person on Instagram, who reached out to thank us for all that we do for the community. And so listen, we just... Shucks, y'all. It's too much. But also we love to hear it. So thank you. It's just,
We
it's
really
nice.
appreciate it.
It's nice when people reach out. We love it.
Also want to shout out to Daphne, who reached out on Instagram. We posted a little clip of us talking about Jolene, and she said the song Jolene is by Pride, and no one can convince me otherwise. So we're here for that interpretation.
So true.
Also, this just sparked a memory for me. My aunt, Auntie Meg, the other day said,
"Hey, Auntie Meg,"
came up to me and she was like, "I was dying laughing when Lee said sit on my face on the podcast."
You're welcome. You're welcome, Auntie Meg.
And I was like, oh my God, I forget that my aunt can listen to this. So Auntie Meg, if you're out there, I hope you're having a good laugh.
Shout out to Auntie Meg.
Shout out to Auntie Meg. But apparently you said something about Jolene sitting on... Remember, it was Jolene sitting on Dolly's face, yeah.
I think I said the next verse should be,
sit on my face, Jolene, yeah.
Accurate. I stand by it, honestly.
So Auntie Meg was a big fan of that. It really stuck
so
with her.
Glad.
Yep, really stuck with her.
I love that. As always, we would like to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
Fiona W.,
and Sophia Phillips.
And our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen.
And Andrea Doucette. Thank you all so much to you and all of our patrons. We could not keep making this show without all of you.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
And you can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. That way you'll get new episodes as soon as they go up.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
Let's Hang Out is an independently produced show. It's hosted by us. Our audio production is done by Ellie. Our production assistant is Krista Murison. And Twitter shenanigans and various other social media shenanigans are done by me.
If you want to support the podcast, you can leave us a rating and review on wherever you listen to your podcast. We love hearing what you have to say.
If you want to join our Patreon, you get access to so many things. You get access to our Discord chat with our patrons. You get access to ad-free episodes, to our watch parties, all sorts of good stuff. You can find it at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want to get some Let's Hang Out merch, you can get that at bit.ly/lesshop. It is coming back around to the holidays again, so if you want to get something nice for the gays in your life, get them a little Homo for the Holidays shirt. I have a little mug that says Homo for the Holidays, and sometimes my grandfather uses it, and it makes me laugh. Because he can't read that it says the little tiny O. But yeah, if you want to get that, grab it.
Remember, we also have a queer production company. We're making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings, and you can find everywhere at $Beanprod.
Or at our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can listen to all of the episodes of our first show, The Flame, on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.